let's cover the frame rate first. So on hit and run, we're going to be running on 180 FPS because physics are tied to the frame rate in this game. So the higher the frame rate, the more boost you get from small bumps in the road rather, and the lower you don't get as many boosts. And there's also some exclusive out of bounds that exist on 180 FPS. So it makes for a lot of the run quite interesting. Because this is probably the most asked question that we ever get, no, first person does not make a difference. It's just a preference. Nothing changes in first person. So you'll notice that I'm picking up a lot of coins in the run. That's because we need 3,625 coins throughout the entire run, because there's missions that have required purchases. This mission, there's not one, but the next one we need to purchase the Plow King. And the most expensive item is 600 coins, which is Globek's Supervillain car in level 6. So we do need a lot of coins, and we're just going to be naturally picking them up across the course of the run.
Sounds great.
So yeah, this is our first required purchase. We need to buy the Plow King, and then we push Lenny to Barney so we don't have to run back across the road to talk to him.
So this mission is one of the first ones where you see a huge like FPS difference of strats, because on low FPS you don't use the Plow King, you use the traffic car, either the minivan or the Ute.
Yeah, the Plow King offers a lot of damage, but it's quite a slow vehicle overall, mainly because of acceleration. But this is the first, I guess, real strat in the run. We're going to try and get a nice quick turnaround as we hit Smithers here. And we're going to try and push him into this house. All right, that'll work.
My convertible.
So yeah, they're going to see a lot of that sort of strategy around destruction missions where we're going to try to pin them up against walls and other objects so then we can destroy them quickly. So this is our first follow mission, and this game does have rubber banding. So the closer I am to the car, the closer I am to the car, the faster it'll go. And the further away I am, the slower it'll go. This sort of goes away in the later levels. It's much less noticeable. But in levels 1, 2, and 3, it is very noticeable when you fall behind the car. So we're just going to try and stick to him as close as possible. And the only exception to this is, for some reason, when you're out of the car, the rubber banding doesn't really kick in anymore. It sort of just goes at a static speed.
I think it's 90% of the speed.
And I'm looking backwards here just so he doesn't run into the barn, because if you don't do that, he'll almost always run into the barn. Here at the power plant, I'm actually going to slow down to abuse the rubber banding, so he also slows down and drives straight through the tunnel without hitting the wall. Wheel of Fortune. That'll be good later. Now we're just going to continue following him through here, and we're going to hopefully get a wasp with our car. Nice. And then we're just going to let him drive to the end.
Can you come and get me? I'll pay you in back rub.
So, I picked up a car from the phone booth. It's the exact same car, and you might be confused as to why I did that. That's a trick called enter skip storage. Basically, when you call a car from the phone booth, it performs an animation where the camera will tell you, or the camera will move and show the car and then move back. But if you can manage to skip that animation, it will store that function, and you'll be able to use it for mission warps. So what happened when I warped to Bonestorm was I had an option that was called enter skip, and basically skip that camera pan instead of the one for... This Bonestorm truck is amazing. It'll skip that camera pan instead of the one at the phone booth. So we're going to be using that a lot across the run as well. Alright, so this mission we're leaving level 1. Excellent tutorial level. Terrible for speedruns. So we're going to be grabbing a traffic car here because the Honor Roller is terrible. It is a really bad car. Every car in the traffic pool here is better than the Honor Roller. It has a higher top speed. But ideally we get a sports car, because a sports car is really, really quick and has great acceleration. But unfortunately, it's a 1 in 5 chance of it spawning every time you spawn traffic car. So it can be against us sometimes, but we have manipulation to spawn all traffic cars at once. So we got to escape from Wiggum come up here because he's very unhappy that Bart has gotten fireworks. But Wiggum's not that good of a cop. as you may know by seeing the story. So if we drive over here and just drive this way, we'll just escape him straight away. So it is a very easy escape. So we got to pick up another sports car because when we have a force car mission like Vox Nerdily, we actually lose the car that we had prior. And I got pretty good luck. That one in particular can be very bad, but got lucky this one, that's good. And we're going to be performing a trick called Dirt Jump here. And I've been driving in a particular way up until this point to manipulate him to turn right at that dirt jump back there, because he can either turn right or left. But by hitting that tree that I hit when I pushed him and just waiting for a couple of seconds, what will happen is he'll always turn right and you can always perform that strat where you push him up the dirt jump and have him go through the shortcut. And this is also a great mission, just pick up a couple of wasps for extra coins, because his rubber banding doesn't get affected by it too much. So we're going to be performing a nice little trick coming up here. We have to race Snake to the stadium. And normally we're meant to just go along the highway and race him normally, but we can do this really, really cool jump by going backwards and following this broken road.
Before, we used to reset at the point where you see the broken bridge in the sky, and we'd get warped to the nearest road node. And then I think of a 2020 ASM tournament, one of the slowest runners of a game did this jump once, and then everyone went, "Wait, we can do that?" and then it was retimed, and suddenly everybody does it now.
It was 5 seconds faster and found by complete accident. So yeah, you can just cut out a lot of the drive and absolutely destroy Snake. So we're going to main menu up here. I have to explain wasps, and I'm going to do my best, but wasps are, without any competition, the most complicated part of this entire game. Basically, when you destroy a wasp, or when you spawn a wasp, it'll have collision, and then once you destroy it, it won't have collision anymore, meaning you can't destroy it with your car. And that happens for 2 wasps in each level, and the only way to restore the wasp collision is to leave the level and come back. So we are routing around the wasp collision because it's way faster to get a wasp in your car in pretty much every circumstance than it is to get it out and kick it on foot. There we go. So that's just a basic explanation. There's a lot more that goes on with wasps, but we're not going to bother covering that.
I just know sometimes wasps just go, no, no, no.
Apu, just like Wiggum, is not very smart. We can just drive behind the Krusty Burger, keep on driving, and we will just lose him. Okay, so this is one of the hardest missions in the run. If you guys want to just take over commentary while I focus on this.
Alright, so this mission consists of 4 sellout cars that we need to destroy because they're using cell phones. The gist of it is you're trying to get them so they're 2 to 3 shot by hitting them head on and just doing a lot of damage. Sometimes that doesn't happen and you need to back it up and destroy it. You also collect vending machines, like a couple of vending machines around the sit and rotate there. That's sometimes you have to miss them. It just depends on what type of car you get.
Yeah, this is one of the very deciding missions of a regular run. That was really unlucky. But overall, not too bad. I would take that happily. And we're coming up to a trick called Cutscene Skip. This is a couple frame window trick where we want to skip the cutscene after this mission. So if I miss it, it's a 55-second time loss for this particular cutscene, but we've got 2 more in the run, so let's see if we get it.
Get it up for America's bad boy.
And there's about 700 different methods of how to get the cutscene.
All right, we got it. So this mission is one that changed quite recently. And by changed quite recently, I mean a strat that was discovered, I think, 2 years ago, got kind of rediscovered. So we're actually going to be getting intentional hit and run in this mission. And that's because on the beach, there's a box that you can get, but it's kind of slow to go down there and get the box. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and get the police to get the box instead. So by getting hit and run at a particular point, make the jump. Okay. By getting hit and run at a particular point, the police car will spawn on the beach. and you'll see that he's kind of stuck down there. But if you watch my coins, after a little bit, he'll blow himself up.
Or he won't.
And he'll get... he didn't blow himself up, but he still got the box. So I just got the box on the beach. It saves, I think, like, what, 8 seconds over going down and getting beach? So it's pretty good. And this is our last collectible for Lisa. So we bought the 2 Lisa required purchases back-to-back, which is School Bus for this mission and the Cool Lisa for the next mission. Now we've got another destruction mission. This one is much, much easier than Sellouts. Because the school bus just destroys these in one hit. No worries. The second car used to be an issue, but we recently found manipulation for the second car that made it so it was always consistent now. Because the second car was able to turn left or turn right. If it turned left, it was great. That's the best luck that you can get. And then if you turned right, it was terrible because the strat was impossible and you had to just do a backup. By making sure there's no cars on the left side of this intersection coming up, it'll always turn to the left.
Wow. I think I saw something about this, but I didn't really know exactly what it was. So that's actually good to know.
Yeah, it's made Hellfish actually a very enjoyable mission. And then we're going to reset our car here. One thing I didn't explain is car resets. So the way they work is when you reset your car, it'll reset. Oh, you almost escaped that. It'll reset to your nearest known road. So when I reset against the wall there, what happened was the nearest known road was on the other side of those buildings. The game put me there, and I was able to spawn behind the car and get a really quick last destruction. Sleuthing. I don't like
RNG.
This mission sucks.
With drops, when Snake gets into the zone where it drops, we can drop an item. There's like a 5-second countdown of when he can drop the item. And this causes an issue for the last drop because there's a bridge up ahead. And if he jumps that bridge, it's not... You're going to lose a lot of time. So you either got to try and hope for good RNG, or you try and get him stuck, as Liquid just did.
That was great RNG as well. The next mission is a strat that is one of my personal favorites in the game.
What we're doing is we're guiding the limo into a spot where we spawn a car from the phone booth. Now, if we pick something like Mr. Plow in the phone booth, it spawns on top of the car in such a way where the collision mashes together and makes that car one shot for some reason. And I think the Mr. Plow goes to one shot as well. And then you could just ground pound the last hit because you can't actually destroy something in one hit. But it'll be one hit from death.
Oh, let's go boat jump. That's probably one of the most annoying tricks in all of Lisa. Getting boat jump there.
So what we did there is we run into the little stump in a particular way. So where the car launched up and hit a trigger. So we didn't reset our car. It actually hit a physical trigger that's usually intended for if you fall off the boat, like from the top of the boat, it'll spawn you back on top of it. But because we can get our car high enough, we can just abuse that trigger.
AGDQ is such a wholesome event, and I look forward to it every year. Let's show the world that inclusivity can be anything.
So I'm picking up Malibu here just because it's a lot easier to keep up with him. And we also need enter skip storage. I'm just going to call it ESS because that's the abbreviation for it. For the next camera pan in, when we get to the last drop, normally what you're meant to do is you're meant to sort of get a big run up and get the last one. But we're going to try and get a little boost off the platform that's just below the exit of this tunnel. This was very recently found, so let's see if I can do it. All right, and we can clear the jump.
Oh, nice.
Pretty good.
That's the best I've seen you pull it off,
Yeah.
I think.
That is the best I've done it. And then the rest of this mission, we're just... This car poses no problem at all whatsoever. We can just... As long as we keep driving and we don't crash into too many things, that's my first hit and run, we'll get away from easily, and then we just got to go to Cletus' house. I'm going to play this safe because I hate getting hit and run at this point. I'm going to go around.
Did I win?
And then this is, in my personal opinion, the worst mission in the entire game. I hate this mission First, we have the car itself. He's often really stupid, runs into everything. There's manipulations for it, and it makes it a little better, but overall, he's still just dumb. A error in the code, which can cause something called fail condition. And what fail condition is this little green bar that shows up is a lie. What happens is that bar represents, I think, it's either 325 or 275 units. I think it's 325. When you go over 325 units behind, it'll fail the mission because you lost the car. But if you're 275 units behind and he drops an item, you'll also fail the mission. So we have to make sure that we're within that range. Otherwise, we're gonna just fail the mission when he drops an item. So it's like, I think it's like, what, 17% of the bar or something that we have to make sure we have filled at all times. The other problem with this mission is 2-cycle. And 2-cycle is a completely random occurrence where he can either drop the 9th drop before the 8th drop or the 10th drop before the 9th drop. It didn't happen this run, thank God. But when that happens, he has to do this entire circuit again, meaning it loses about 2 minutes. Now, I hung back at around where the rocket car would spawn in level 1, because his rubber banding would slow down and makes it far less likely that he would get 2-cycle. So this main menu warp is the only time that we don't warp back to the menu for wasps. It's because we need the canyon arrow for the next mission because it is a destruction mission. And trying to do a destruction mission in Malibu Stacy is not, it's not quick. It's rather slow. As we do have to use the canyon arrow, it is, as Tika said, it has a lot of problems. Mainly, it likes to flip over. So Cola Truck's similar sellouts is a very, very difficult mission. Because if you miss a strat, it just is so much time loss. Just gonna focus for a moment here.
We're gonna get pole strat, where we just guide it into a pole, hit it from behind, hit it a couple of times, and there we go.
That was beautiful. I don't think that could have been better. And I'm going to spawn a wasp intentionally here. This is a thing that happens a lot in the run, but this is probably the easiest place to explain it. When I spawn a wasp there, basically it'll cause the wasp at the chessboard to hopefully have collision. And I can just run straight into it.
That roof box that Liquid just got can be pretty difficult to get because, again, canyon arrow. Physics can just send you off the roof flying, or you can just get stuck on the roof. It's, out of all the coin patches in the run, that's probably one of the least more consistent ones to grab.
Yeah, and also on high FPS in particular, you just fly if you hit that little sort of incline. There we go, the wasp had collision, that's good. And then this one is not too bad, but it's actually probably the worst one to miss because there's not really a good backup. Luckily, we got it. And overall, a pretty good Cola Trucks. Come up here, there's another Wiggum escape. But once again, Wiggum is a terrible cop. And we get to kind of just disappear because he just doesn't understand the concept of doors. So by going in here, we escape Wiggum and we finish the mission. The actual reason to why that happens is because the interior is so far off the map that it's immediately just escape Wiggum. And a funny story behind that one is I did that as a kid. I did my first runners game in like 2016 or something. And some of the runners at the time were watching and I walked into the door and they were just like, what? That's a thing you can do. Level 5 is very difficult. Every single mission except for 5-2 is basically a potential run killer. So this mission can 2-cycle. I hope I haven't cursed myself here. Okay, I don't think that's a 2-cycle.
No,
but right there it can 2-cycle. This one is way worse. This one's like, I think 2.5, maybe 3 minutes. It's terrible, but it is very rare. And then we're just going to collect the last couple of drops. And we actually picked up American Apu early, and the reason why is because this is actually like dynamic routes based on how many coins you have. So if you have good coins, you can get American Apu late, but you miss out on that box that I just picked up. I think it saves about 4 seconds overall, so it kind of just depends on how good your coins are at the time. And you need 500. This is kind of where the coins start getting a bit tight, is you need 500 for cover for Homer coming up here. So I have pretty much dead on. I'm going to get hopefully another 60 or so coins before I actually reach cover for Homer through this box and this wasp.
Nice try, foolish driver.
Okay. You know what? I'm just going to grab the wasp.
Just a physics moment right there.
Real stairs moment. So yeah, I have the coins for it. But it does start to get a bit tricky, even in casual playthroughs with coins at about this point. So, Baby Van, due to a bug, can have two states. It's either he drives normally, or he is tilted and he spins out and drives terribly. I kind of hope I get the bad one because it's funny. Oh, I got the good one. That's boring.
Oh, that's like
and
perfect.
I got the that was a perfect Baby Van. Ah.
Now they're gonna look at us. What are you complaining about?
What are
this
you
is
talking
easy.
about? This mission's not that bad.
That's what's meant to happen.
Yeah, that's basically the ideal Baby Van. You can't really get any better than that. But that mission can very, very easily lose 30 seconds just because he drives bad. So he spawns sometimes on like a tilt, and when he spawns on a tilt, his back wheels don't like. Nice camera. His back wheels don't sort of work, to put it simply. And so he just spins around. It's really, really dumb.
So you collect these wasps around the sim and rotate, and then Liquid's going to try and attempt to guide Wiggum.
I'm too slow.
Oh, it's been too slow. There's this thing where you can push Wiggum to the right of the highway, and he takes the shortcut. It's very fast, but it's so hard.
Push him up that shortcut right there. It's the hardest strat in the game at the moment. You basically have to have flawless gameplay to even have a shot at it. And then you have traffic that can spawn in the lane and cause that not to work at all. So when you get it, it's the best thing ever because it saves like 10 seconds, but getting it is ridiculous. This is a mission that a lot of people casually have trouble with because this timer that's on the screen, not the one on the GDQ stream, the one that's on the game, is like a global timer. It's basically the amount of time you have for the entire mission. So you have about, what was it, like 4 or 5 or something, I can't remember, from the very start of the mission to complete it. So it basically just sits through this entire mission. But in a speedrun, we just follow a particular route. It's not that difficult of a mission. This guy is definitely the worst part of it because he just sometimes forgets how to drive.
I smashed my skull.
We're gonna try and push him. Yeah, okay, that's alright.
Thinking,
So yeah, and then from here we just gotta pick the last drop because it's on 5-second timer. And the rest of the mission is nothing. So the next mission is another favorite for people who play this game casually, Armored Truck. So Armored Truck is pretty rough casually because you're in this flimsy, weak car that is the Bandit. Goes fast, but it isn't very good at destroying stuff. And you gotta destroy this really big truck. It's got like so much HP. Providing an ambulance is getting in the way, or Quippy doesn't want me to vote for him, we'll be able to perform a strat where he blows himself up entirely. So let's see. So I'm going to guide him just behind these stairs at the monorail. That should be good. Yep. So he's going to just sit there. And if you watch his health bar, he's just going to slowly but surely damage himself over and over again.
If he gets too stuck though, like he can drive a little bit under the monorail, he gets like stuck and you have to push him out. And then that becomes like a little annoying because there's a bit of time. Also, you should stay in there.
But I can't drive past a certain point because if I unload that area, what will happen is all of the collision where he is will unload as well. And he'll just drive out and then I'll have to go back and kill him. So I can't drive past this east side sign until he's blown up. You can kind of see the buildings in the background change. That's where the loading zone is. Alright, and then the final mission of Apu is Curator. The mission itself is not too bad, but what's scary is the 2.5 minute cutscene. If I don't get the cutscene skip. Actually, I lied. The mission itself also is terrible.
Is this
Curator is annoying.
Which, like, you gotta fling him into like a statue and hope he stays there, gets stuck, and doesn't be a pain.
Easy peasy. Oh, this is too cool for school.
Oh, good.
Eat my dust eaters.
Alright.
It's time
Yeah.
for some room. Bart Simpson style. And the crowd goes wild.
No,
Oh,
no. So, after that lovely little bit of lore,
This car can take it.
we are now finally back in the game. And part 2 is my personal favorite level in the run because it is pretty consistent apart from one mission. And it's just fun overall. And a lot of people have trouble with the mission Set to Kill. This is the worst mission casually because it's just really difficult. But we are doing something pretty cool in Set to Kill, which is really, if for anyone who's watching this run for the first time, probably blow your mind. But we're going to be grabbing the Globex car pretty much straight away because it's by and large the best car that we can get at this point in the game. The Farini is pretty decent. It's actually one of my favorite cars to drive, but it is just really slow. And Carbon for Homer is same speed, but the acceleration is not there compared to Globex. And the only destruction mission that we have
Hey, Kearney.
is FMJ, which is destroying Skinner. But his car is really weak, so we can just use this car for literally the entirety of part 2.
It's fantastic.
We're going to try a strat here. Where we're going to hopefully bounce off the wall, clear the poles,
Oh, nice.
Oh, this
and we're going
is
to grab
too
this coin room.
cool.
And the follow meter does get a little tired, but usually we have plenty of
All
time.
mine.
And that's just a nice, easy chunk of coins, because at this point in the game, rubber banding is almost non-existent. It still is there a little bit, but it barely affects anything. So basically from here until the end of the game, it's going to just be strat after strat after strat. The end of the game in this is so satisfying to pull off successfully. Very punishing if it goes wrong. But it is a really cool end game. It's one of probably my favorite like ending to any run. Not biased at all.
Damn automatic transmission.
But firstly, put the duff truck next to the taffy shop here. And he won't really move. We just
Bart
get him 6 times, and then we drive all the way back to the Duff Brewery. And hopefully getting these 2 wasps along the way.
Oops.
So that's 1 and 2. I have amazing coins. So we're going to push him in here, and we can actually get some of the coins that I might have missed earlier by blowing up right here. You'll see the coins appear. And Set to Kill, everyone's favorite mission casually. So we're going to be doing this essentially backwards. So I'm going to try and make a nice, nice jump there, and pick up these 2 boxes along the way,
Lay some rubber down.
and reset my car, and pretty much just pick up all the stands in a essentially reverse order. Picking up what would normally be the second stand last. And this is a bit tight on time. It is about 5 seconds, 10 seconds leeway. But as long as you don't make any major mistakes, it should be all right. And the good thing about that log is it's on a cycle from the moment you load it in. So if I drive the same every time, I'll know exactly what to do.
Whoa, wicked.
But I think I actually drove slightly worse, so I'm going to slow down. In hopes that I can... Yeah, okay, I made the right choice there. So it's always on the same cycle if you drive well, and then if you drive bad, you know to slow down. And then we're going to abuse this reset to save driving all the way around.
Speed.
And hopefully, on the remaining stands, we'll get there with the last one with about 5-ish seconds remaining, providing I don't get hit and run. I will get hit and run. Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Don't get busted. So after that last stand, it just gives you 50 seconds. And we only need one of that 50 seconds to actually get back to Krusty.
Oh yeah, I totally rule.
And now we're coming up to our final cutscene skip in the run. This is the least punishing one. So hopefully we get it, but it's still 45 seconds if we miss it.
So talented and good looking.
Perfection.
Oh, no. So, level 7. I'm going to take a backseat on commentary just so I can focus because this is a very, very difficult level. So I'll leave it to Axie and Ticker.
The final purchase of the run has been made, so we have no use for coins for the rest of the run. 7-2 looks like your bog standard follow, but during this follow, we'll have to pull off an out of bounds at the cemetery. Hopefully he gets. It'll deload the power plant, and you can just make the next mission so much easier. Ooh, this looks a bit rough.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting heavy on traffic. This could be scary. I'm gonna go for it anyway.
Just listen to Lisa. You need speed. More speed.
Nah, that was always rough. I'm gonna fail.
No.
Oh,
No!
Go! Oh, wow. Oh,
right.
wow.
Shout outs to Lambton.
If this goes bad, hashtag blame Lambton in the chat.
Yeah, this is the worst backup trick in the entire run.
So if you got the strat, this power plant would be deloaded, and we could go out of bounds and just drive the waste to the school, which is the premise of the entire level, is driving waste from here to the school with that tractor beam that you saw at the side of 7-2. Instead, we have to climb this wall now with the hover car. And there's like a lot of things to do with physics and the cages and stuff, which makes this trick
Cage.
so annoying. It's easier the lower FPS you get, but still, like, it's not a trick you want to be doing.
Alright, I should get on the wall here. Now it's about getting over this cage. Oh, what? I was moving. That's a lie. Game is lying.
See, this is my favorite trick in the game. I think, this is just a bit of a skill issue here, Liquid.
I'll be quiet.
I can do this first try every time,
You're on 60. I think. Are you on 60? I don't remember.
My last PB was on 46.
I like to think of Axie's FPS as whatever I type get Google to generate in that random number generator.
Am I ever gonna make it to the school? This could be a problem.
Oh no, 26 seconds.
Get out of bounds! I'm just gonna restart the mission. Okay, surely this works.
So, would we count a hover car as an airboat? Because I would.
Go out of bounds! Okay, alright, there we go. Got there eventually. This is the most I've ever heard of this soundtrack. So yeah, now we're out of bounds and drive straight to the school.
And there's just a bunch of like different strategies you can do here. What Liquid's gonna do is abuse the zombie car's physics to like just get out of bounds for the next 2 missions, and that's pretty cool to watch. He'll be lining up. I think Liquid uses a lineup with his timer.
Yeah.
To like an e-brake boost and get over this wall. There's a wall there. How do I explain this? This section of the game wasn't developed on, so they decided to block it off. But we could still drive in between. Yeah.
The vibration tickling my feet.
Alright, so here's another zombie car out of bounds, and it can be a little tricky with collision physics, and like you've got another factor now as well with the waste, but if you don't drive too fast, you shouldn't blow up the waste and get on the wall. It's a very cool out of bounds. It took a while to find, but now it's made the run a lot faster. we actually have a glitch here. Yeah, I think it's a glitch.
Yeah.
Called jump zone. So whenever you take a jump, you go like there's jobs that have like jump zones which increase your speed through the jump, so you get through it. But here, when you get out your car and some mysterious force pushes you out of the jump zone, let's just say, the alien car, you can get jump zone glitch, which makes your physics of the car strange. You get like infinite speed, quote unquote. The car goes bouncy, and you can clear that gap with Bandit using jump zone.
And now we're going to go super speedy. If you like wheelie off the little bit of like tarmac there, you'll get infinite speed as you drive back to a beam. It's very hard to control, so you have to be very precise, but it takes a bit of practice.
Oh boy, this mission.
And now we have another way to get jump zone in 7.7 now, which was discovered recently, where you don't even need to get something to push you out of a jump zone now. If you park in a specific way, get out your car and jump back in, your car will have jump zone.
Did I get it? Oh, I got it. Nice.
Oh. And what this allows us to do is when we go back to the power plant, the World War II Jeep has a much easier time getting out of bounds now. So this mission is pretty much almost completely done in bounds except for this race trigger, which we have to go in bounds for, which has been a bit of a problem for us.
Yeah, because before we used to have to bounce up the wall without the waist and get a hit and run by jumping out of a car, kicking Grandpa, and then the police would knock the waist out of bounds into our pocket.
You could also use a traffic car to like get out of bounds as well.
All right, time's coming up. Oh, where am I? Oh, there I am. All right. So that's the end of the game. That was not bad Homer 2 after you know we got past the bounce, but and time is now. Excellent. Well, that wasn't too bad. If you are interested in learning this game, speedrun.com/SHAR for Simpsons Hit and Run. We have a Discord server. This game is really, really easy to get into. There's a full-blown tutorial and everything. So if you're interested, it's a really fun game to run.